Welcome back on the AM show. And after all the sadness, the dour situation we find ourselves in, we still have to go on and talk about other subjects germane to our national life. And that is why this morning we're going to be hosting a stalwart of the NDC. He's a former mayor of Kumasi. And this time round, he feels he has what it takes to become flag bearer of the NDC and lead the party to victory in 2024. I'm talking of none other than Kojo Bonsu. You may have seen his billboards in town. Well, he joins us this morning for a conversation. Mr. Bonsu, a very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How do you do?
How do you do? One of the most curious phrases, if you like, in English. How do you do? And you respond, how do you do? Good to have you. Good to have you this morning.
Thank you.
But even as we kickstart the conversation, I'd like us to, you followed Discourse, the sports team on Christian Achu. I would like us to start on a more somber note from there. Are you a fan of football? What are your memories of Christian?
I've been a football administrator for years.
Oh, yeah. How could I even forget?
I was the Adidas representative, the manager of the Black Stars, a member of the RTU board, and a member of the Kotoko management.
Oh, RTU as well?
Yeah. Still, I'm the
Real Tamale United.
That's right.
Brings back memories of Abedi Ayupele from back in the day.
That's
Spindly legs.
That's right. With Mohamed Cho and Enlai, some other good players. But before we start, may I seize this opportunity to tell Achu's family that he should rest in peace. All is not lost yet. The world is watching, and may he rest in perfect peace.
It is indeed a very
sad
loss.
So if you've been following my Twitter pages, I've been talking about this since day one, about how the foreign minister and the our ambassador in Turkey should give us daily updates. But I must commend them now. They've done well. From the day Achu's body was found, they've given us update. They've written letters to the public and made sure that we know all that is going on. So this one, may I say kudos to the foreign minister and the ambassador in Turkey.
Shirley Ayoko Boche and her team. Some have said, and I run this by Bobby Banson, who joined us for the news review. Some have said that they've done a good job, but we still could have done
better,
more.
Yeah.
That he is one of our own. And I brought this up. I want to find out what your take is. People have said on social media that, look, whenever a Ghanaian is affected in some of these instances, whether it was the Libya incident or the Gambian incident, we tend to let things degenerate into what we wouldn't want. And that maybe, just maybe, for all we know, I mean, having been pinned where he was, hunger, thirst, all of that could have set in, blood loss. And that if our team had been able to get hands on deck to look for, because he is ours, yes, there are other people involved, but if we had done more, maybe we wouldn't be telling the story. What do you think about that?
I think they have done well. We had to push them. Because what's the use of an ambassador or the foreign minister? If a Ghanaian gets into trouble anywhere in the world, we have to make sure that Ghana, especially a player who has done so well for Ghana. He played in most of our Cup of Nations. He played in our World Cup. So he's a Ghanaian. And all I was looking for is that they should have given us daily update up to a point. But after a point, it's like they were slagging. But after that, they came up. So, it's 50-50. It's a learning curve. They should do better next time.
They should do better next time. Let's talk about you. There are other, extra issues that I would like us to look at, issues that could affect you if you became president of the country. But I'd like to start from you and your choice of, putting yourself forward to lead the National Democratic Congress and eventually become president of this land. I've listened to you in the past, but I want to find out specifically, when did you get this epiphany? When did you decide that, I'm going to take this on this time?
I decided 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And I've been touring, I've been going around, telling people, especially chiefs in the country, went to Togbi.
Which Togbi? Afede?
No, the Togbi Tekre and the whole the Regional House of Chiefs. I met the whole Regional House of Chiefs in the Volta region. I went to Yana, and I went to my own good Otumfo, Dr. Kokoso. I went to Western Region, Nananketia. I've been to most of the chiefs, and I went to Aflao to see some of the chiefs there. So in a way, in a nutshell, I've been around visiting people, telling them my intention of coming to run this country, if the NDC chooses me.
Why do you feel Kojo Bonsu is the apt person for the NDC in terms of leading the party into 2024, looking at all the dynamics we have to deal with?
Thank you. Have you looked at my CV?
I've seen a few things.
A few things. So
Right.
you haven't seen a lot. That puts me in the position to do that. See, I've been in the background for a long time. From Jerry Rawlings to Atameo to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Behind the scenes, I've done a lot behind the scenes. And I believe that this is the time for me to come around for the high office and the leadership of NDC.
Tell me, on your CV, which are those things that you feel, look, because I've done this? In sports, you've told us what you've done. We all know the work you did as mayor of Kumasi and some of the roles you've played within your party, the NDC. But what do you feel, since you're talking about your CV, what do you feel is in there that is testament to your leadership powers that should make people want to give you the nod for your party and nationally eventually?
A lot. Behind the scenes, I've done a lot.
Tell us about
At Goil, I rebranded Goil, brought it to this situation, state that Goil is in now. I've been the chairman of the National Sports Council. I rebranded National Sports Council. Obviously, Kumasi, you know about it. And Adidas, the whole West Africa, and what I did for Ghana football. And also as a team manager for Ghana football. And I think I've done a lot. That helps for everybody to know that, look, the man is visionary. He has more ideas to be, and if you look at it, wherever I've been, has been a success. And whatever I've touched has come to grow. And I'm ready to serve the people.
You do realize that becoming president is on a much, much bigger scale. People will say that running a country is like running a business, just on a much larger scale. You're going to be the CEO of the country. And when you look at your CV and what you're bringing to bear versus that on the other side, those you're likely going to face in the current administration and even within your party. Let's start from your party. A certain John Dramani Mahama looms large on your party. Some have said economically, in terms of his being the figurehead or arrowhead, in terms of his having been there and done that as a former president, the clout he wields, and all that. How does that make you feel?
Mukaya ni Mukwaba. And
Someone
also,
must go for someone to come.
yes. And also, he has done a lot, yes, I admit that. He has done a lot for NDC, and so it's on the ticket of NDC that he's run. I've said many times that, look, if you become a leader of a party, whatever you do is for the party, not for you as an individual. His Excellency has done so much for NDC, but it's about time that we have something new for Ghana. And because of democracy, anybody can challenge anybody. It's not a fight, it's not acrimonious, but we have to be able to move on and come up with something very new for the country. And that is what I represent.
What newness exactly? What is the refreshing bits that you will bring to bear if the NDC gave you the nod?
A lot of things, notwithstanding all the good things that His Excellency John Dramani has done, but you have a way of doing things, a new style, and I could do it better if I'm the one running the show. So there are a lot of new things that the youth of Ghana want to see, not that kind of old system that we have, and no. We need to bring something new. And the people are yearning for something new. And that is where Kojo Bonsu comes in.
The former president is more of a juggernaut, a force to reckon with within your party. How do you mean to upend his bid if he officially declares to stand again?
It's what I have for the people, especially the delegates. We haven't gotten to the national yet, especially to the delegates. And within the party, What you're telling them is what we want to let them know. And it's not acrimonious. It's not a fight. It is just a contest. Look, I give him the highest respect that he's done good for the party, but it doesn't mean that we should leave it just like that for him to run alone.
You mentioned delegates, and Sir John, of blessed memory from the other end, will tell you, fear delegates. There's a whole lot that in our political system we know happens sometimes. Things exchange hands and delegates could be compromised. And I'm saying some of them, not all of them, but we've seen it happen in different ways, places, and people talk about them. Again, going back to his clout, do you feel you can convince the delegates involved to vote for you and give you that mandate? How are you going to do it? Is it going to be a door-to-door approach? How are you going to approach it?
I'm doing a door-to-door approach, but it's not that easy. As you say, it's not that easy. It's very difficult to challenge an ex-president to that level. But all that you have to do is to be able to fight hard, do the right things, let the people feel you, and that is what is going to make the trick. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But I can tell you that people are listening.
How are you going to make the people feel you? I'm sure there are people who are watching us right now who are thinking, okay, you want to become president. You want to be flag bearer of, let's say that person is an NDC card-bearing member. So you want to become the leader of my party. How are you going to convince me that, yes, you're saying something new, fresh ideas and all of that? What exactly are you going to use to convince me? Because anyone could come and say, I'm bringing a renewed spirit, I want to do this and that, but what exactly? What is the pinpoint of Kojo Bonsu?
A grassroots man. I listen to the people on the ground and I go granular. There are a lot of things that our party and a lot of conversation that we need to have. And this is what I'm trying to discuss with the people on the ground. That's granular. When we win elections, it is like who you know. But I'm saying that no, it shouldn't be like that. If you're able to work harder and you are from Bomprugi Yoyo, you are from Sapsugu Tatali, and you do well, you should be seen. And some of the people on the ground are saying that when NDC is in power, they don't get jobs. Even if they want to be enlisted in the police or the military, they have to pay money before they can get into the position. But I think it shouldn't be like that. If your party is in power, you should be able to enjoy the fruits of working for the party. So that is why I keep telling people that I'm going to have the bottom approach, not the top approach. People are saying English and maths. Do you know what English and maths is? If we win power, if you don't have any certificate, even if drivers, if you don't have a certificate, you are not allowed to go. And that is what, because we have 440,000 people who are going to vote as delegates. And you need to make them happy. You need to let them feel that, look, they're part of the party. But if you don't do that, and it's always the same thing, status quo, you're getting people to run away from the party.
Are you suggesting then, because you see, this also leads to some problematic areas in our governance, where these people who bring, as MSC, X person or Y person to power, then must benefit from the spoils of leadership. And then it creates this very patronizing system where these people benefit from the boons at the expense of most people. Is that what you're proposing?
No, that's not what I'm trying to mean. All that I'm saying is those people down there, some of them, drivers, you don't need to really have some good certificate. They can be trained.
Okay.
Drivers, laborers, cleaners, all those people are people that we can give jobs to so that you maintain and make the party very happy. But we don't do that. We don't. This is where the problem is. And this is where Kojo Bonsu is coming in to bring something new to the people so that they'll be recognized as NDC members. And when it comes to time, they vote for us. Otherwise, in the end, we get a lot of people running away from us. And that is what has happened to CPP.
Is the NDC, do you feel? You remember there was a time when Nana Kunedo Ajaman Rawlings contested former President Atta Mills. Didn't go too well for her. I think she got just about some 3-4% of the votes. But we're not talking about a contest between sexes or gender. In this instance, it's a straight fight between, maybe not a straight fight, because we don't know which other contenders will come up. Dr. Kwabena Dufour has, showed interest, and I'll be asking you some of what he's proffered. But is the NDC ready for a leader apart from the former president? I mean, realistically, at this point in time, do you feel the party is ready?
Yes, we're ready. You see, the thing is, you have to go down and understand all the things that I'm saying. Perfect. His Excellency has done too many good things. But the thing is that if he wins the elections and go further for the national elections, he would only do 4 years of his time. He cannot do more. But in politics...
How is that a problem?
It is a problem, in the sense that he would be able to do 4 years, and we need to find somebody who would follow and go for 8 years. It's always better for the party. It is always better for the party if we have somebody who can project. Because, see, the system has been messed up by MPP. Now, if you're coming to do 4 years, by the time you finish clearing all these, the rot that we have in, we're almost 4 years. And what are you going to tell the people again? That you also came to mess up? But he knows he wants somebody who has a long vision, who will be able to tell us that, look, 4 years won't be enough. We've done 2 years. We've been able to do all the mess up. We clear up, so we grow into the next 4 years. That is what will be good for the party.
Hinging on that same point, I'd just like to find out from you, because the MPP has said it means to break the 8.
They should forget it.
They should forget it.
They should forget it. You see, this is an internal issue you're looking at, okay? But the external one is our biggest enemy, MPP. They have come to mess the system up. Totally messed up. They came with a lot of lies, 1 district, 1 dam, 1 district, 1 factory. It all has.
There was 1 village, 1 dam, 1 district, 1 factory.
Whatever. It's all the gimmicks and the phrases that they use to mess the system up. And that is the situation we are in now. So they are our biggest enemy that we need to clear. Whatever the situation, whoever wins our internal elections, we all would come together and go and fight the biggest enemy, which is MPP. That's why I'm saying that they should forget 2024. We're going to pull together whatever the situation. We're going to work as a team. And that is what political parties is all about. If you realize, I've done a lot behind the scenes. We did a speak out store. We did a lot of design of our logos with the MPs and everything. So I'm always involved in it. So it doesn't matter if I win or lose. If I win or lose, it's one party we're talking about.
Can anyone realistically, and I'll be going to Dr. Dufour shortly, but can anyone realistically, apart from John Dramani Mahama, stop the MPP from breaking the 8? Mind you, if a new person comes, you're going to now try to curry favor with the people, try to win over the masses, try to carry the confidence of the people. Do you think the party really wants to get to that point where it's basically starting afresh when it can go with someone that already has established himself?
Have you gone around talking to people? Have you gone around talking to people about the 2024 elections?
We've had a lot of surveys, for example, come through, and they still point to the same trajectory of the former president, being in pole position.
We need somebody. Even MPP people, they tell you that we need somebody who's going to go for a long haul so that we vote for him. And it's common. Okay? So this is not a fight or insult to anybody, but we need to do proper contest, and this is what we're doing.
Let me bring in, you've already started talking about the challenges that this administration has, left us mired in. One of them, the economic challenge, which has left us or led us to the domestic debt exchange program. But before we get into that, I'd like you to listen to Dr. Kwabena Dufour, who has also been speaking to these issues, and he says the economic management team ought to be dismantled. What's your take? But before you give me your take, let's watch this.
So the issue is not about debt treatment. It's about a real restructuring of the economy. Make sure inflation goes down, the bank borrowing cost goes down, domestic resource mobilization picks up quickly so that we rid the country out of aid dependency and safeguard our national sovereignty. Their treatment, yes, but that alone will not solve the problem. You understand? Yeah.
I mean, one person who had cause to participate in this protest surrounding the debt exchange was the former Chief Justice, and
yeah.
She told us that, as far as she's concerned, she thinks the Finance Minister has not performed well at all. Do you share that assessment as well?
I think so. The former Chief Justice has made a point. How did you get to this point? I talked about the fact that for 8 years, as a nation, we borrowed over $15 billion. That's a huge money. That could have changed the whole country. You understand? And pay interest on such a huge debt from the meager, scarce foreign exchange earnings we make has been a big challenge to the country. And the Eurobond borrowing, it's a special borrowing. I'm not saying it's a bad, no money is bad. It depends on how you use it. If it had gone into projects which could pay or pay for themselves, would I be in a better position now? How was the money used? So the former Chief Justice has a point.
Are you surprised Ken Ofori-Atta is still at the Finance Ministry?
Well, we're told that he's managing the IMF program. Haven't you heard it?
I mean, that was the response to the calls for him to step aside. I mean, those who engaged the president and had made that call, they say that he didn't give an assurance that he was going to go after the IMF program. He said that, I mean, we are trying to manage it. Let's try and finish with the IMF deal. Then we'll have the conversation about your demands for him to step aside. I mean, do you think he should have been asked to step aside and replaced with someone else? Perhaps some breath of freshness around that area.
You see, it's been said by a very wise man years ago that no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created the problem. You understand? Do you understand me? Yeah.
So we need a new consciousness. He should go.
New yes. A team, not even him. I think the management team must be looked at.
As in the economic management team?
I think so. Because see, the other ones who, including the finance minister, who created the problem, can they solve the problem? Especially when I hear some of them say that, oh, by the fact that we have been kicked out of the international market, we have gone to borrow 3 billion, 2 billion. It means the same level of consciousness that created the problem. Hasn't seen the problem yet. They haven't seen that we have a problem. They haven't seen it. The parliament is the keeper of the public purse. You know that? That's why when the finance minister goes to parliament to present the budget, he says, I'm here to do this. And in the end, he'll be asking for approval. They can say, no, take it back. They have that power. Or they say, cut this budget size because it's too much for the economy. They have that power. They are the people's reps. They can say no to the budget. You understand? So what they're asking for is correct. That's their job.
So that's a former governor of the Bank of Ghana, former finance minister, saying we have got into this hole because the economic management team got us here. He says the finance minister shouldn't be opposed and that these very people who got us into this situation cannot get us out. What's your reflection on what he says?
I think he's an economist and he's on top of all that he's saying. But that is not it alone. The expenses of this government, the way they do things, it has made this country gone solo, economic-wise. Apart from all the DDEPs that they are trying to bring, how did we get to this situation? The long and short is I agree with Dr. Tufo that they have to look at their team very well, and they are not doing anything good for Ghana. They're not doing anything.
When you say look at their team very well, some have also suggested, what do? Do you create a vacuum in leadership? We are in a deep hole. If you don't get the right people to extricate you from that hole, you could find yourself deeper down that hole. So in terms of calling for new leadership, you must also be careful, else you exacerbate the situation.
Are you saying we don't have any group of people or...
Tell that to the MPP. Tell that to the MPP. People have said, replace Ken Ofori-Atta. He's still at post.
And
the president has given reason for that.
It is a very sad situation because the president came on a national broadcast to tell us that he's going to handle, in 3 weeks, he's going to handle these IMF solutions and that sort of thing. And after that, he will go. He's still sitting on the same position. And even recently, he was offered a new portfolio.
It was later diverted and given to someone else.
Yes, but I mean, if you think of it, that means Ethiopia attitude, and it's not good. This country is messing up.
There's the lands minister who has taken up the
How did we get to this situation? Over expense. I'm not an economist, but you could see that we have messed up. A president moves to 52 Land Cruisers. Have you valued one Land Cruiser? It's about $180,000. Multiplied by 12 cities, plus 3 people in each Land Cruiser. If they travel out of Accra or go to Tamale or something, 3 people in each Land Cruiser. So if you look at it, you're talking about 150 people. A whole Tundra carries one chair. Doesn't make...
You're talking of the president's chair.
That is the issue. So, I mean, what are we doing? We're not showing anything good for our people. We're just mishandling the economy. Go and hire an aircraft with a bed and everything inside, whereas you can do a commercial flight, do exactly the same thing that you want to do, just go into a hotel, refreshen up for your next event. I think we are not cutting our code to our size. We are mismanaging, misspending, and that is why we are in this situation now.
Let me ask you, we're all talking about the economy, and it's been one of the most prominent issues on which people have voted in Ghana, all the way from the start, the very inception of the Fourth Republic, but especially from the 2000s up to now. You may not be an economist, but I'm sure on the back of all the things you're seeing and where we've ended up, and of course an IMF deal knocking on the doors of the IMF, you would have a plan. What would be your approach if the NDC first of all voted for you as flag bearer, and if you did become president in 2024, what would be your approach in terms of our economy? Mind you, by that time we would likely be under an IMF program. We would have that to grapple with. I mean, in all likelihood, that is what we want.
Who told you IMF will come and better Ghana?
It's not about bettering Ghana. We need to shore up our economy. We need stability, and it's the IMF that can give us that.
If we look at, I have pillars that we can bring Ghana back to economic stability. 1, unity, peace, national security, economic stability, discipline. Okay? These are the 5 main pillars. And with economic stability, I'll put in what you call industrial agriculture. Now, when all these things are achieved, this country will be better off. And also, we cut down unnecessary expenditure and also cut down ministers. At the moment, we have about 106 ministers. We can bring it down to 60, 65.
Is that a safe figure that if we had a Kojo Bonsu in the office, you would bring it down to 65?
I'll bring it down.
Why not lower? Recently, we've seen other presidents, Malawi's Lazarus Chakwera, actually moved his cabinet from 31 or so to 20-something. Others are doing even better. Why not that?
You can't just rush into cutting it down, but you go into 1 and you go into 2. So you start with 65 and you see whether things are going, then you bring it down. That is the better approach. and unnecessary expenditure. Unnecessary expenditure. And this is what is bringing us to this point. COVID has come to show us that you don't have to travel with entourage of 10 people to UK or to Germany for a contract. You can do a Zoom meeting. They will email the contract that you've discussed to you, send you pictures of whatever. Then you look at it, you sign it, and you courier it back. It saves us a lot of money by sending an entourage, hotel bills, costs.
We've been told that part of that has been cut in recent times. If a travel is not, one without which we cannot dispense,
they say it, but
it will not be done.
They say,
but you're aware there is a policy like that.
Oh, that's what they say all the time. But look, it's not happening. Apart from that, a whole lot of new things that you're doing, money, expenditure and everything. Let's cut our coats according to our size, and this economy will be better.
You speak of economic stability and some sort of industrial agriculture. You've spoken about unity, peace, national security. Later on the bit about national security, I'll be taking you to Boku to react to the situation there. But before that, industrial agriculture, what do you have in mind?
A lot.
We have planting for food and jobs, rearing for food and jobs, and all of that. If we've not seen the output, what makes you think this industrial agriculture you're speaking of?
Industrial agriculture. I've never seen any farmer who has planted yellow corn for 1 kilometer. There's no farmer in this country who has a 1 kilometer farm. I went to Brazil. I sat in the helicopter for 2 hours. I was on a maize plantation. Yeah. And is it difficult for us to do? All we need to do, the DCEs in this country and MCEs are sitting in Nizam Patrols, that costs about 190,000. Okay? All you do is that we're going into agriculture. Help people to do big farming so that we can get
mechanized farming.
Yes, that's industrial. So all the equipment like combine harvesters, plowing, planters, whatever. Okay, you buy it for the district assembly. Than to go and buy Land Cruiser. So when they have it, they can rent it to the farmers. Because at the moment, if you rent a combine, a plower, it's 200, 300 cedis. The farmers don't have the money. So because of that, they cannot grow or they cannot do bigger farms. So you need to make sure that this local government system will support the farmers. Now, when you support the farmers, one, we are going to get economic stability because we're going to have food, and after food, we can use some for production, and after that, when we have excess, we can look at export. Then we are coming to economic stability. So I believe that all these things must change for a better Ghana.
Which cash crops, and in terms of food security, which crops would you be targeting? I bring this up because, look, we focused on cocoa for a long time. I have worked both in Ghana and Brazil, like you mentioned, and I am very familiar with the Brazilian terrain as far as this is concerned. In the cashew, industry and the value chain, cashew is far more lucrative than cocoa. What you'd get for a kilo of cashew versus what you would sell a kilo of cocoa beans for is the disparity is high. Recently, I heard of Nigerian billionaire Adenuga actually venturing into that industry, multi-million-dollar, I think over 63.5 million that they're investing into this new plant. And Nigeria is one of the hotbeds when it comes to cashew production in Africa. What are you going to be producing? The Malaysians came here, picked oil palm, learned a lot. Look at what they've done with it. Look at what our industry is. So what are you going to be focusing on if you tell us about mechanized agriculture? Some have said, and this may be an idea, cassava. So many things we can do with it. Now people are making wheat out of, people are making flour out of cassava instead of wheat, which we have to bring in from Ukraine and Russia. So what is your target when it comes to...
My target is cocoa, cashew.
Agriculture.
Cocoa, cashew, maize. We never used to plant yellow corn, but now I think we're doing it. So cocoa, cashew, maize, cassava, and many other things for local consumption, even tomatoes. You get what I mean? So let's look at these four. And if we look at it very well, we're going to cut our international money going out, and it is going to stay in. so that we bring economic stability into the system. And even we can add value to these things.
Right.
Cashew. In Brazil, you've been there, they can use cashew for what? Brandy. They can use cashew for a lot of things.
So many things, even the fruit,
Yeah.
like you said.
Yeah.
So people make wine out of it. Some can even use the pulp, process it, use it for a number of things when it hardens. Some people even use it in making, what's this? Bricks. Are you aware of that? The sheath of the shell.
Yeah.
It's that's so much that it can do. One product.
So if we're doing this, all the importation, all the foreign money. I mean, look at this country. We import toothpick. And if you know the budget, the money that goes into importation of toothpick, then you come and argue that the economic whatever, one dam, one district, and no. It is to be able to face the issues and give the people the chance to be able to farm and do a better farming by supporting them. Fertilizer. And we are not doing it. Now, under the 5 thematic areas that I spoke about, if it's done and all these things are looked after very well, we will prosper.
We will,
So we will prosper. Just like General Champong, Operation Feed Yourself. And industrial agriculture is the next issue to be able to make this country a better place for us to live.
Let's talk about security. It's interesting because I'm just picking out some of the very things you've spoken about. You spoke about unity. That's a broader subject. Peace. We've looked at your economic stability in respect of industrializing agriculture. But let's talk about security. One of the foremost issues we have, an albatross around our neck, so to speak, is what is happening in Boku. When you go back into the history, you would read about the colonialist forces and looking for, decentralization, looking for a system. The Kusasis had their Tindanas. The Mampusis had a chieftaincy system. What happened, happened. But on the back of all of these developments and the constant exchanges between the two, it goes off for a while, it comes back. How would a Kojo Bonsu resolve the Boku situation once and for all?
Number one, it's all about communication. You have to get national security's information on why that problem is going on for a long time. We had the same problem in Dagbon, and we've been able to solve it.
I was going to reference that.
We've solved it, haven't we?
We have.
So it's about communicating and looking at what all that is going on. Okay, and I think we are not hitting the correct places. We need to get the 2 factions, or whether it's 4 factions, we have to sit down and play the game, understand what they want. Government should provide so that we can have security, because in Boku area, you're crossing to Togo, Burkina, Niger, and mostly the insurgents are around this area. So if we don't take care, that is why I talk about national security. So it is very important, okay, that we should meet the people different ways, listen to them, and we can put a package together for all of them to be able to have a satisfaction in a free Ghana. That is how I see it. It's all about communication, understanding them with their problems.
You feel it can be done?
It can be done. Why not? It took us for a long time, I think 10 years, but the Dagbon crisis has been solved in a lovely way. So we can do it.
Let's come back and focus a bit more on you. During your tenure in office, was it 2013, thereabouts, to 2015?
Yeah, 2016.
2016. You had quite a bit of pushback from market women, among others, with some of the initiatives you started. Recently, we saw the Ashanti Regional Minister, Simon Osei-Mensah, also lamenting same, trying to move people to the Ketia market and to other stores allocated, and yet people wanted to be selling at the sides of the road. He was, communicating this to Otumfuo, which tells you how desperate the situation is. The regional minister is not able to do much about it. Our reporter on the ground, Nana Wachi Yadom, tells us that it's a very difficult situation. What do you make of the situation in Kumasi? What is peculiar about that problem, and how do you feel it can be resolved?
Can be resolved. Kumasi is the center of the country, okay? The real population of Kumasi is about 2.9 million people. But during the day, we get an influx of people from the north, south, east, west to trade in Kumasi. So it goes up to almost about 5 million, but in the night, they all split and go back to their areas. Now, they should be able to, I managed it. I managed it very well. You should be able to understand the people, communicate with them, tell them what is not good, what is good, before you take an action, because you can't just surprise them. I mean, it got to a point in Kumasi, they didn't understand me, okay? I went to court 32 times when I wanted to build a market. Now, when I go to Kumasi, the market women who wanted my head off are in love with me. They say, Kojo, you did well, we are happy with you, they lift me up, and all sorts of things. It's the way I managed it. It's difficult, it's not easy, but you need to manage all the parties and make sure that, look, you tell them that, look, if you sell on the roadside, the probability of you causing traffic and you causing mayhem around the area is an issue. How do you solve it with them? These are issues that you need to dialogue because they're very recalcitrant. They wouldn't allow you.
The people are very recalcitrant.
Yes.
The market people.
The market people, everybody, not only the market women, everybody, people selling, people coming on the street and that sort of thing. You need to manage it. As a mayor in Kumasi, if you're able to manage these things very well, you come on top. And that is what I did.
And so we need that stern hand, basically, to
you have to be,
shift the thinking.
I wouldn't use the word stern. You have to be firm, okay, and dialogue as well. You don't just get up and push. They have market leaders, market queens, and people, they call them, tell them, and listen to them, and you know the kind of approach you want to do. Then you go with that. But if you start pushing it onto them, going there, you're going to have a pushback.
You know, there is political capital and political cost. In other words, collateral damage that one could suffer with some of these initiatives. Already, the NPP administration has suffered its fair share of unpopularity on the back of recent, not so recent dynamics that are happening, the economy and others. If there was a push to streamline matters in Kumasi, a la what you're saying, wouldn't that be political suicide for the NPP? Looking at the fact that this is within its stronghold, and if it slips in that region, it could be disastrous.
You've mentioned it, it's stronghold. That is where they should use dialogue to talk to their stronghold people. They definitely have party executive, they have people who sympathize with them. So you just have to talk to them, listen to them, then you come out with a plan. Just don't push it on them. If you push it through their throat, you're going to have a problem. In Kumasi, you need to dialogue, you need to do background, you need to do sort of behind the scene, talking, before an action is taken. If you don't do that, you fail as a Kumasi mayor.
Who are some of the people to speak to? Otumfuo, definitely, but who are some of the others that to get a solution you would want to speak to?
Market queens.
Right.
Market men. And the commoners, the shoe shine boys, the cleaners, and everything. You need to meet them separately. Then you can understand where they're coming from. When I was trying to build the KJTR market, they told me that they won't allow me because I'm going to mine gold there. So they wouldn't. I had to do a lot of dialogue. They have to go to court. They have to do this. One of the times I was nearly jailed for contempt of court because they understand the system. They're fighting you here and there. But now they're very happy with all that I did. I'm sure if you do your own research and you go to Kumasi, everybody's looking for Kojo Bonsu back.
I see.
Yeah. Check. I'm sure one of your guys who does most of the research, Erastus Asari Donko, and all the people in Kumasi, they know the people want me back. But you see, Mukwaya, Mukwaba, it's not my party. But you see, we need to develop Kumasi and make Kumasi workable.
Kumasi must be made to work. But contrary to what you're saying, some of the information we've picked is that those in Kumasi are not too enthused about you. I don't know, maybe about your mayoral, role. Maybe they now look back and say, as a mayor of Kumasi, you were spot on. But in terms of leading the NDC, it appears the people of Kumasi are not so sure. They are not so enthused about you.
Are you sure?
That is the information we're picking.
You better go Kanula. It's a face thing, no? They call me, do you understand that?
One of our own.
Yes. Kojo Beba, if you hear Kojo Beba, they tell you, "Ye diemuni."
I see.
So I don't see where you're getting this from. Yeah, do your research very well.
We've actually interacted with quite a number of people,
How many
our people on the ground,
What was
and
sampling?
even to corroborate that, Global Info Analytics,
I'm sorry.
its data that it's been gathering doesn't look very good for you, does it?
That's fine. It's their data research. Let's leave it like that. Yes.
So you don't
I have a
don't you
different
believe in it?
No, I mean, it's up to them. They've done the work before. How many people were they sampling? And where were they sampling?
Their sample size is usually around 2,000 plus, thereabouts.
Have you seen the population of Kumasi?
But
The
you know,
population of
that's
Ashanti
that's what surveys do. They definitely
No, but
don't
you have to
do
do some kind of representation. That is where you get the truth. Anyway, I'm not arguing with that. They have their points. They've done their research. Let me concentrate on the kind of work I'm doing in Kumasi, in Ashanti. Yeah.
You're aspiring to lead the NDC to victory in 2024. There has been a recent reshuffle that seemed to create quite a stir within your party in Parliament. What is your take on that?
I mean, you want to reshuffle 1.5 years for you to run away? It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And how many new ministers are they bringing? Are they cutting down numbers? Are they going to cut down costs? We're in an economic situation now. What are they doing? I don't agree with them. Whatever they want to do, their term will be up soon. And we'll gather as a team and fight them off because they have messed this country up.
So you disagree with the NDC's
No, I don't.
parliamentary reshuffle? That's actually what I was speaking to you about.
No, you were talking about ministers.
No, I was talking about the reshuffle of your party
Reshuffle
within
of our
Parliament.
party, it's inevitable. I mean, it's something that has happened, but I believe that it could have been done in a better way. Negotiation, I believe in that. Talking to them, letting them understand that this is the time, this is that, this is that. You know, I thought you were talking about the new minister.
I realized you heard
Yeah, that's what you said.
the
ministers.
trajectory. No, I said Parliament. In Parliament.
Yeah, in
within
Parliament, yes. I suppose it was inevitable, supposed to happen, but the way we managed it could have been better and it would have brought peace. But anyway, let me seize this opportunity to thank the elders of the party because they've brought calmness in the party.
The former president also had to step in, actually, and intervene with people like Muntaka and others.
Kudos to him.
Let's look at other projects that this administration has taken up. Maybe before that, the DDEP, Domestic Debt Exchange Program. I just want us to go briefly back to economics before I was going to bring in the National Cathedral. When you look at how it's been handled, especially, I'm sure you've seen Sophia Kufu pick it at the ministry, former Vice Chancellor, Professor Sam, among others. Now they've been, given an exemption. Did it have to take that for senior citizens to come begging for their own money?
I was going to ask you that question, then you've come back to the question. The thing is that, you see, pension and cost of medication in this country. Years back, diabetic medication, that costs 300 cedis. Now it's 900 cedis. So you can see that the country is messed up. Now you go and also give a haircut to their pension funds and that sort of thing. You're creating a big problem. How are they going to survive? If they have, let's say, 15 years more, you're cutting it down. So it is, the question is that how did we get to this situation? What happened? Why this? You see, so the government must own up to it and forget all those things they're doing and make sure that they come up with something very good for the system so that this system doesn't crash or collapse.
The National Cathedral has stalled, but there are plans to continue with it. What is your take on that project?
I think, yes, Nanado had a good vision for a national cathedral, but you couldn't have demolished 50 houses to do that.
Houses belonging to judges, some belonging to private entities, the National Scholarship Secretariat, Ghana Scholarship Secretariat, among others.
A lot of money. You see, we have a lot of land at the Dodua, outskirts of Accra, towards Aburi. We could have done that and even built a smaller version that will cost us, let's say, 50 million or 100 million. You don't, if you promise God that you want to, you don't have to go and build a basilica like Fobuayin did in Yamoussoukro. All you do, because it's a learning curve. You should have learned what is happening. At the moment, I hear in the basilica at Yamoussoukro, go there, go and find snakes.
Yeah, abundant.
Yes. It's total waste of money. You could have built a 50 million cathedral. Nobody would have questioned you. And that one, Lalasu, collecting money from here, they could have built it with ease without a problem.
Must it come from state funds, though?
That is the issue.
Taxpayers' money.
That is the issue. And also you've demolished. Now the construction has been stalled and the place has been left vacant at a ground zero, negative down. It's not a good thing. It wasn't a wise decision. Yes, you could come up with a cathedral, or you could have built anywhere. You could have found somewhere behind Kasua and build it, and do a first-class route to the place. I believe that, you see, we should have count our chickens before they hatch. It's too expensive to build that thing. You know, and to be honest with you, it has created so many problems for this country.
Should we, on back of our economic situation currently, should that project be brought to some sort of cessation, at least for now, till we can find our feet again?
We should stop. We should stop and find. I would want to build a hospital within a amount of years, not rushing. But
they have this administration has Agenda 111.
Ooh, Massa, they keep coming up with Agenda 111. This. It's all gimmicks. What is Agenda 111? How many hospitals are they building? The reality is what we're talking about, and how it will save Ghana money, so that we don't go to the situation that we're going to DDEP. You want to make people happy. You want to make people prosper in the economy that you are in. But look at us, the situation that we find ourselves in. It's terrible. I'm sure you're having problems at home, but people are not talking about it. And I think we should face it and tell the truth. It is a terrible thing. The whole country is in shambles.
What would you, in case that project does not, the president has committed, he says, by the end of his tenure, somewhere in 2024 or 2025, the project would have come to an end and the cathedral would be built. But should that not happen, and should Kojo Bonsu become president in 2024, what would you do with that project? What would you do with it so the taxpayer doesn't lose out completely?
The harm has been done already, but I believe that we can do a hospital.
A hospital?
A hospital.
Okay. With
phases. If, let's say, every year we can be built in 10 years or 5 years, 30 million every year out of the budget allocation. But I wouldn't use it for a national cathedral. We can build a hospital with it and floors, because you see the place, the foundation has been laid. So we can use it for hospital, ministry offices, and that sort of thing. Because you want to make sure that what's happening will bring some revenue to government. Some revenue.
So an alternative would be that if they don't finish the project, let's turn it into a hospital.
Not only a hospital. We can even do first 3 floors hospital, and the rest
commercial space,
offices, and that sort of thing. That will benefit government.
Let's look at another issue that people have voted on in recent years, apart from the economy, is corruption. And you remember the promises that were made by this administration. The current president spoke about using the ANAS principle and all of that. But corruption has not got any better. When you look at the Afrobarometer surveys, when you look at the Corruption Perception Index, when you look at myriad surveys that have come up, in fact, if we haven't tapered off, we have become even worse when it comes to corruption. How would you fight corruption? Remember, your own party mate who became special prosecutor, Martin Amidu, said, in this country, when you fight corruption, corruption fights back at you. That's what he said. How would you address corruption?
We must fight against corruption. whatever the situation, we have to go and fight for it. But I would have a different approach to corruption. So I think the two major parties and the other parties should have a serious discussion on corruption. If you follow my website, www.kojobonsu2024.com, okay, we're going
Can you mention that again for those who may want to? www.kojobonsu2024.com. Right.
Okay. With corruption, what you do is we have to sit down on a round table, being nationalist, thinking about Ghana.
Not party-centric,
Not
national.
National. And look at ways we're going to solve this problem. Because if we don't, we're still going to go down and down and down. We need to understand that, look, corruption will kill us. So if you look at my manifesto, I'm talking about discipline in this country. And discipline is what brings down corruption, because we are not disciplined. And also, if you have talked about national service, everybody, university, SHS, doing 2 years of national service with the military.
Okay.
Like it's done in Israel, like it's done in Germany, like it's done in Switzerland, okay? I've done the customs. Every year, we churn out 150,000 people, and the military academy can divide the people regionally to all the military officers. Then we start training them so that we can start bringing out some kind of disciplined people. It won't be achieved in a day or in a few years, but we build on it so that people will know that, look, Ghana is all that we should think about.
My final bit to you, you look at countries like Japan, they're struggling with an aged population. Very few young people, they're trying to encourage people to give birth. Same thing is happening in South Korea. Canada is looking for a lot of young people because the population is aging. We are blessed with a youthful population. By 2050, over 50+% of our population, even now, will be youth. But we're not capitalizing on that to build our economy. My question to you, what does Kojo Bonsu have for the youth of Ghana?
You see, for the youth to listen to you, you need to appeal to them, okay, for them to listen to you. And if you look at me, I have the swagger to appeal to the youth.
You have the swagger to appeal to the youth. Yeah. I love that.
If they don't want to know what you're doing, they want to do other things. Now, I'm sure you've heard, the youth like music a lot.
Right.
And as a president, I'm going to come up with something. In Europe, they call Eurovision contest.
Oh, yeah. The one that Ukraine,
yeah.
Very prominent.
Yeah. So we do it regional. So every region, if you win, let's say you get 100,000. So people will get into the music industry. Okay?
So maybe this could be a Ghana Vision rather than a Eurovision.
Yeah. We'll change it Ghana Vision or Afrovision contest in Ghana. So the youth who love music, who use their phone for a lot of things, I'm sure what you see what is happening on TikTok. So they do that. You win your region, first gets 100,000, second gets something. Then you go to national. Then national, you get 1 million plus a record label. So it will entice people to move from all the Sakawa things, and because this one, if you do well and your music is good, it pushes the country up, then you can get some revenue. This is something that I have for the youth. And also the farming that I spoke about. If, let's say, you start a big farm, 0.5 kilometer of maize farm, and they see that you have been able to get money, immediately you start harvesting your maize. Suddenly you go to Toyota, buy a new Corolla. They realize that, this money, they do well. So we follow on. They also go into farming. These are things that you need to start communication to it for the people to get involved. And when they get involved, we're okay. So I have a lot for the youth.
Final words in some 20 seconds.
All I'm telling my delegates is that vote for Kojo Bonsu to bring all that you want. As I told you, that I am going to provide 276 offices in all the orphan and all the constituencies so that you can run your business. I'm also going to open bank accounts for all the constituencies so that it can be run as a corporate. NDC needs to do that, otherwise, within a short time, the party will be collapsing. So delegates, listen to me and vote Kojo. I'm ready to serve with something very new, my new presentation for the people.
Mr. Bonsu, thank you so much
Thank you for
having
having
breakfast with us
Thank you.
this morning on
No
the
breakfast.
AM show. We've had breakfast with the issues, actually. That is former Mayor of Kumasi, Kojo Bonsu, and he wants to be flag bearer of the NDC and also become president in 2024. Stay with us after the break. We have Drive Safe, and we're also going to be engaging the staff, the students of the Kumasi Technical University. But before we take that break, are you looking for a job in the world of technology? Are you looking for a platform that equips you to land your dream job in technology? Well, then the 2023 edition of the Job Fair, Tech Job Fair, is for you. The venue is the Accra International Conference Center. The date is Wednesday, the 22nd of February, 2023. Time, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the theme, leveraging technology to create inclusive and sustainable jobs. The organizers are the Institute of ICT Professionals Ghana and AFOS Foundation. Supporters or exhibitors include the German Development Corporation under the Invest for Jobs program, Jobberman, Lene Services, MTN, GIZ, AHK, Netherlands Trust Fund, Admin Telecom, among others. You want to reach out, I know. Just call or WhatsApp 0242 912 027 or 0201 233 215 for more information. The job fair is, here's the best part, free and open to all. Do stay with us. We'll be back with more on the AM show.